The Senate continues to work on changes to the House-passed reconciliation bill with their looming July 4th deadline. Joining us right now with the latest is Senator Shelley Moore Capito. She is the Republican Policy Committee chair. And, Senator, thank you for being with us. Let's talk a little bit about where things stand, because we've heard from many of your colleagues who have had issues with this bill as it stands and want to change things. What's the latest?
Well, we always knew when the House passed their bill that the Senate would work its will, and we have different ideas in different areas, whether it would be some of the energy tax credits, some of the other Medicaid, for instance. And so that's what we're doing. We're working it through with our members. We've had very productive meetings. We know how important it is to the American people that their taxes don't go up and that we shore up the border and our national security and our energy. So we are on track here, and I think we are probably make some changes, but I don't think they'll be radical changes. And I think that I feel very good about where we are at this point.
We heard earlier today from former House Speaker Kevin McCarthy. He was on set with us and said, look, you basically have to send it back, and all the senators who are saying they will not vote for it in the end will vote. Is that your feeling as well? With the exception of Rand Paul.
Well, I mean, I think, you know, I think at the end of the day, we're going to be successful. And part of that is because of the leadership. John Thune, he's listening to everybody. Mike Crapo has been very studied over on finance to make sure that everybody's input, and he has stacks of ideas from different senators. But at the end of the day, we all know that this bill is important for the economy, for the prosperity of many, many people around the country. And so that's going to be the driving force for all of us. So in the end, yes, I think we get votes enough to pass the bill.
The issues, you said that there are some changes you'd like to make. Can you be specific with that? And I'll ask your West Virginia counterpart, Senator Jim Justice, is warning that putting SNAP costs onto state capitals could cost Republicans control of Congress.
Well, I think you have to look at the benefit programs to make sure that those that are due benefits, those that need the benefits, get the benefits. And certainly in my state, that's exceedingly important, whether that's a SNAP benefit or whether that's the benefit of Medicaid. But what's happened here, there are people on those benefits, both programs, that don't deserve to be on there or don't qualify and have stayed on for years and years for one reason or another. We need to flush that out, get rid of the waste, the fraud, the abuse of the system, so that it is there for the basic folks who need it. And I think Senator Justice knows that well as a former governor, but I think also he knows that the states are on tight budgets, but the states are going to figure this out as well. We are by no means going to be foisting the whole SNAP program onto a state. That we know that possibly can't occur, and that the SNAP benefit is exceedingly important to many families. So I think we're going to find a happy medium there, and I feel satisfied for the direction we're going with Senator Bozeman leading the charge from the Agriculture Committee.
On the Medicaid front, where do you come down on that?
Yes.
There are millions of people who are now on those rolls because of the Affordable Care Act, the Obamacare Act. How would you like to see that changed specifically, and what happens to the people who do lose their health care benefits?
Well, I think, in a state like mine, where 28% of the population is on Medicaid, we do have the expanded Medicaid, which you're talking about. That was the expansion that occurred under the Affordable Care Act. And so what we're looking at is to try to, again, preserve the benefit for those who deserve it and qualify for it. There are people on there that either are qualified in 4 different states, so that's a fraudulent or a waste. There are people on there that may be illegal, that are here illegally, that are on there. So that, I think, is those folks will lose the benefit. I think we'll put a work requirement in. We will also ask those beneficiaries to make sure that they're current, and instead of being current once a year, maybe they have to attest to their eligibility twice a year. I mean, these are not onerous requirements that I think will lead to bending the curve in Medicaid. It's the fastest growing part of our healthcare system, and it needs to be reined in terms so that it can be there for the people who really need it and deserve to have it.
Yeah, that's a good point. No one ever thinks about that. It's just grandma going off a cliff, with, starving babies along with it. That's all you hear. And the thing about it, if you don't fix it, no one's going to have it.
That's correct. And I think that's where we need to keep our focus. And so I think, as I said, I don't think the requirements that we're putting on are onerous. Yes, some people will lose the benefit, but they didn't deserve it in the beginning. And I think that's a fairness quotient in my opinion.